Hello everyone and welcome to my cooking channel Czech Cookbook. Today I prepared for you some spaghetti sauce. So I will show you how I make the spaghetti sauce, and there's so many types of spaghetti sauces. So I hope that you will give it a try. This is how my mom makes it and how I make it, and it's so good. It might be different than you are used to, so you can step out of your comfort zone and just try this one. So all you need is pork. So this is different than, we are not doing ground beef, we are doing it with pork. Here I have 1.5 pounds of pork, and this is, on the package it says top sirloin tip roast. So I recommend using any pork you want except pork chops, because pork chops tend to have not much fat and it kinda is dried inside of the sauce. So if you have a little bit of fat on it, it's good. Then we will need 1 tablespoon of oil. I have here olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then 1 teaspoon of seasoning salt. You can use any seasoning you like to use. I have here all seasoned salt. So 1 teaspoon of that, 2 cups of water, and now we will need 3 ounces of tomato paste. This is a pure tomato paste, and the can is 6 ounces, so you will need just half of it. And I will show you then what I do when I have the 3 ounces left. Then we will need 3 teaspoons of sugar. And now for the thickening of our sauce, we will need half cup of water and 2 tablespoons of flour. So this is for the spaghetti sauce. And now, of course, we will need some spaghetti. So here I have the whole package. So I will recommend using whole package of spaghetti. And then on the top, I really like, and this is how my mom always makes it, to shred cheese, like fresh, shredded cheese. Here I have some Swiss cheese. I don't know how much we will need because it depends how many people will be eating it, but as soon as we will plate it, we will put some cheese on top of it, which will nicely melt, and it will be heavenly. So now we can start creating spaghetti sauce. I already prepared a pot where I will put our chopped meat. So let's cut it on small pieces, and you can leave the fat because this way it will be nicer with a little bit of fat. So cubes like this, pretty small. I don't like big chunks in the sauces. So now we can put it in a pot and cut the whole thing. Here in a pot is 1.5 pounds of pork, nicely chopped. And now we will be adding 1 tablespoon of oil. So I'm adding olive oil. Just pour it on the meat. Stir this a little bit. We can already turn on our stove on high. First is 1 teaspoon of regular salt and 1 teaspoon of seasoning salt. Now I will lower the flame. Let's mix this together so all the meat has a chance to get salt. And now you want to roast it a little bit. I raise the flame a little more. You will want to stir it so the meat does not stick to the bottom. It starts to change the color. After a few minutes, it has a different color now because we were roasting our meat. So this is good. And now we will need to add 2 cups of water. And we will need to bring it to boil. So I stir it first. And now we don't have to stir it because we'll wait till it starts to boil. And let's add the lid so it can get there faster. Make sure you don't leave this unattended, because as soon as it starts to boil, it will also create lots of bubbles and it would bubble over your pot, and that's not what we want. So it's already boiling now. It took about 4 minutes. Let's lower the flame so it can have a gentle boil. I will stir it now. And now let's set up the timer. I know it takes about 50 minutes, so set up the timer to 50 minutes. And then now and then come and check on it if it's still boiling. So I'll cover it up so I know how high temperature I need to keep it on so it has that gentle boil. And I will set up the timer for 50 minutes. Make sure that the lid is cracked open so we have the steam has a chance to escape. Come every 10 minutes and just stir it a little bit. And keep checking if it has the gentle boil and not overflowing all over your stove. It's about 10 minutes before our timer goes on, and here I have another pot for spaghetti. So I put some warm water in. Let's turn it on to high, and I'll put like 3 pinches. And now you will want to bring it to boil. And it will be faster with the lid on. A little bit cracked for the steam to escape. After 50 minutes of boiling, our meat is definitely soft. I tasted it. Now we will need to add our 3 ounces of tomato paste. So let's try to add half of this. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now we have the 3 ounces left. So what I do, I just close it, get some Ziploc, put it with the can in a Ziploc, and I put it in a freezer. And then when you know you're making spaghetti again, you just can get it out of the freezer when you start making the meal, because this way it will have time to defrost. So that's a tip for you, so you don't have to waste nice tomato paste. Let's add 3 teaspoons of sugar because our tomato paste is not sweet, so we need to add a little sweetness to it. And let's mix this. And I can hear that our water for spaghettis are already boiling. It's boiling now. Let's add the whole package of spaghettis in. Don't break them because they will go in nicely when they get softer on the bottom. Let's lower the flame. And we will not put the lid on now because we don't want to crush these. There's no space for the lid. And let's set up the timer for about 11 minutes. That's what the package says, but usually it takes longer than that. But we will be tasting it after 11 minutes. Now we have to get back to our sauce. This is too runny, so the best is to thicken it. So we need to prepare our thickening sauce. Take the wooden spoon out and put the lid on so we don't have shooting tomato sauce all over the stove. And I will lower it a lot so it has just tiny boil, because first we have to prepare our flour and water mix. Put half a cup of water into a bowl. And here I have 2 tablespoons of flour, all-purpose flour. And now we will whisk it together so we don't have flour clumps. So we have nice and smooth thickening sauce. It's perfect. Our spaghettis are falling down nicely, so let's just push them in, and I like to stir it so it makes sure that they are not stick to the bottom. That's good. And now and then I like to stir it just to make sure they're not stuck. Just to make sure that our flour mix does not have any big pieces of flour, I like to use a strainer and just pour it through the strainer. This way, if there is any chunks, it will be caught in a strainer. And now we need to stir it immediately. I will raise the flame a little more. And as you see, it already starts to thicken it up. If you like less meat in the sauce, then you can use just 1 pound of pork if you prefer that. So, because it has lots of meat. It starts to boil again, and let's stir it for about a minute or 2 just to give the sauce chance to thicken up even more. If you don't stir it, it might shoot some tomato sauce on you, so make sure you wear some apron or something to protect your clothes. That's why I stir it the whole time. This is good, so I will turn it off now and our sauce is done. And if you don't like to multitask, I have to first cover it up so it stays warm, so it can melt our cheese nicely. If you don't like to multitask, which I mean to cook spaghetti next to the sauce, just wait till the sauce is done and then you can just focus on the spaghetti. After 11 minutes, I'm pulling out one spaghetti with a beautiful spoon from my mom. I love this spoon. It makes me happy, right? When you look at it, you just have a smile on your face. It's a great spoon. So make sure you don't burn yourself when you are taste testing. So let's see. Definitely still crunchy. Probably needs another 5 minutes. It took me 20 minutes and now it's finally soft. So let's get the water out. Here I have a colander in a sink and you just pour it like this, strain it. That's a lot of spaghettis. And I like also to shake it so the water can release. Let's scoop it up. Now the sauce. And as a last step, we will shred the cheese on top. You can use either the big one or the smaller one. I'll use the smaller one. Oh, it will nicely melt. And you can be as generous as you want. I like lots of cheese. Look at that. And it's already melting. Looks beautiful, huh? So now it's time to eat this.